الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كل وليك صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا عينا حتى تسئله عن الخير طوعا وتودعه فيها طويلا وتصل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه يحشرنا معهم. الله أكبر. سبحان ربك العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. رسول الله أكبر. إليه الله. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا ربي الله أكبر. الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
Like one or two stops. वो बहन जो है
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام. وأسأله أن يتوب علي توبة عبد ذليل خاضع فقير بائس مسكين مستكين مستغير لا يملك لنفسه نفعا ولا ضرا ولا موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا. اللهم إني أسألك اللهم إني أعوذ بك من نفس لا تشبع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن علم لا ينفع ومن صلاة لا ترفع ومن دعاء لا يسمع. اللهم إني والرجاء بعد الكرب والرخاء بعد الشدة. اللهم غابنا من نعمة فمن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب السلام عليكم وعلى أهلك وبيك وعلى أهلك وبيك وعلى أهلك المعصومين المؤمنين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم لا إله إلا الله وعلى آله والسلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم لا يرضى ولا العفو والجبران والأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا حبيب الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. عبد الله تعالى سأل الله وجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصارك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
البقي البقي
Rebuild البقي
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 البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي البقي loves البقي 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 terörist terörist Al-Saud terörist 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 rebuild Al-Baqi now 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 Al-Baqi Al-Baqi rebuild Al-Baqi 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 محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
Now I'm going to humbly request Brother Sajjad Lakhani to please come up and start the program. Please welcome him with the loudest of his salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad ajil.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
You know, it's truly an inspiration to watch you all here. And this is basically most of the core support of Baqee organization, Baqee itself, and you are Baqee yourself. So no need for any further than that. Is that the inspiration that you draw is that you all talk the talk and walk the talk. Rare. I mean, remember, on the side of truth, that is very rare. I mean, remember, on the side of truth and on the side of haq, there are always people that are few. But those are the few people with their power and with their zest actually makes the cause more, palatable, makes the cause more achievable. So I salute you all from Al-Baqee organization as well. And also, I just want you to know that when you go ahead and talk about rebuild Al-Baqee, and you think that we are just doing these slogans, let me tell you something. You are shaking the foundations of this regime right here. And I am telling you because I have first-hand knowledge of that. And I want you to know, I'm going to share a story with you, and that story has actually reaffirmed, we have resolve, you have resolve, but a steely resolve. We have focus, but more acute now. You guys all have the desire, we have more desire right now. The reason is because we want to make sure that we will see Al-Baqee restored and rebuilt. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee. Let me share the story with you. The story is not really out of this world, but just to give you a glance, maybe Janab Sayyida Salamullah alayhi wanted us to see another, wanted us to see another part of this brutal regime and how destructive they are. We were last year, Al-Baqee organization sent 2 or 3 of its directors and to Ground Zero. We call Ground Zero because we wanted to be at the cemetery to pay our respects and give our condolences to our Imam of the time, Imam Zamana alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. And we also wanted to pay our respects to our 4 Imams over there and other notable personalities. So we figured because of the 100th year, there was noise all over the world. Well, we wanted to make sure there is somebody there also representing you all. So we went over there. We were wearing these Al-Baqee t-shirts that right now Imam Hassan al-Mustafa alayhi salam, the deprived son of the Holy Prophet. I was wearing that, and Shafiq Badr was wearing a t-shirt about Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, and Iftikhar Badr was wearing a t-shirt Imam Baqee alayhi salam. And when we went to Baqee, a lot of people stopped us. Hey, we know you, we heard about you, we talked about you. You know, I'm glad you are here. You know, can you do this? Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee. I said, well, this is not the place and the time to do it because there were a lot of cops around there. So we went and we had on the side a lot of discussions with these people. However, around evening time, when we had the t-shirts on, when we finished our prayers, we were arrested. We were arrested for wearing those t-shirts because they found it very offensive to them. And they were so mad at us that they took us to the local station they had right there around the mosque, the holy mosque. And they questioned us for about an hour, 2 hours. Then they put us in shackles and they put handcuffs on us. And they made us go to the central police station where there was, they isolated us. And they put us in jail over there, and then called each one of us and went ahead and they did deep questioning. And this was their equivalent to their Secret Service. You know, like we have Secret Services over here. They had their equivalent, and they were thorough from my date of birth till, you know, till the end of what I'm doing until I'm in Medina. They wanted to know everything from all three of us. However, so what happened was that we went ahead and gave them the information and everything. We were still wearing the t-shirts. And after that, they had some talk between us. They made us sign something, which I know it was wrong, but it was in Arabic. We didn't know. However, we went ahead and then they threw us in the jail right there. And I'm telling you something, when they threw us in the jail, we saw some people over there from Sudan, from Egypt, from Turkey. All of those people, they were incarcerated. And they were incarcerated on false charges. For somebody taking a picture, they were slapped around. And for somebody taking his son over his shoulder and showing him a grave, he was slapped and his son was taken away from him and given it to his mother. And his mother was thrown away on the side, right on the compound of the Holy Mosque. So don't think that you are sitting over here and saying these Al Saud brutal, you know, terrorists. Al Saud 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 terrorists. To continue, I'll just summarize a little bit. So then we went ahead and we were thrown in jail. So then at about 10 o'clock in the evening, they called us out. And he took out his cell phone. And you guys were here protesting live because that was the day of Shawaal. And since you were behind, 8 hours behind them, you were actually conducting the protest over here and they showed it to us in the prison over there. You are from these people. You are that, because the flags that we had, well, we had one of the flags that they had confiscated at that time. Okay, so the head cop was so mad at us that he couldn't bear to see the blood in his eyes. And I knew there was trouble. So I talked to my two friends and I said, if they take us in the middle of the night, we are in trouble. And let's brace ourselves for that. And sure enough, 2 o'clock in the morning, they called us out in shackles and in handcuffs. They put us in a dark den, with dark windows all the way around. They took us outside Medina because there was, you know, barren land over there, as you can see. There were dark buildings over there, and they stopped again. Now you can imagine how we felt at that time. I nudged Shafiq Badr and I said, okay, this is it. Remember the noble cause that we are here for? Remember Janab Sayyid Salamullah alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And if we are sacrificed for her, so be it, that is our honor. We were speaking in whispers because they could hear us, but unfortunately they couldn't understand English. He turned around and he accused us and showed us his pictures. Baqee? You want to rebuild Baqee? You want to rebuild Baqee? Is that what it is? The t-shirt? You want to do this? And he was getting more and more mad at us and he called us out. I said, okay, that's it. You know, and my brother Iftikhar was with us too at that time. And they called us out. And I said, okay, that's it. And then they had an argument among themselves. I don't know if Janab Sayyid Aslamullah had divine intervention, if she and the Imam of a time intervened for us, but it surely did. Because all of a sudden the argument back in the then it was back in prison. And I am telling you, we were this close to what we call an execution. So I am sitting over here and I say to you that you all are shaking the foundation of this regime. You all are making a difference, because remember 15 years ago when we were over here, there were not too many protests around the world. Today there are echoes all over the world, and the echoes are Al-Baqee, 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 Al-Baqee. Please do not give up. You should tell your friends, you should tell everybody that you know to be part of this, because We may be few in numbers here today, but there are a lot of people that were with us, and we know they are with us. But the people on the fence, your friends that tell you, are you making a difference? They are their asset. Don't you understand that? That's what they count on. They don't want those people to get involved, because if they get involved, then what happens is that waves and waves of people coming over here. And that's one thing they can't bear. Because I'm telling you right now, if you think by yourself that your frequencies are not jammed over here, that a website is not hacked over there, you got another thing coming. They're doing all of that. They're monitoring that. They're monitoring the website. So you are making a difference. You are definitely making a difference, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not making a difference, because you all are the ones that drive that agenda of what we have from Bibi Sayyida Salamullah alayha. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! I'm going to hand over the mic to our Master of Ceremony, Dr. Inhedame, and he's going to conduct the song here. Thank you very much, all. Loud Shawaal, please.
Thanks a lot, Shahid Bhai. Please repeat after me. Saudi is a terrorist state. Saudi is a terrorist state. Built on lies, blood and hate. Built on lies, blood and hate. Saudi is a terrorist state. Built on lies, blood and hate. Respected scholars, ladies and gentlemen, this 8th day of Shawaal holds a special place in the hearts of millions around the world, because it was on this day in 1925 that the cemetery of Jannatul Baqee was razed to the ground by the terrorists called Ikhwan at the orders of a very evil man. It is their king Ibn Saud. Sharif of Makkah, Aun ibn Hashim wrote, the valley was paved with corpses and dried blood. There was hardly a tree which did not have 1 or 2 dead bodies near its roots. Wahhabi ideology claims that constructing a building over a grave is forbidden, even if the person buried there is of a special Islamic status. They conveniently ignore Surah 18 verse 21. Those who prevailed in their affairs said, we will certainly raise a masjid over them. Fast forward to the recent times, their human rights records continues to be abysmal. And to talk about this is brother Jafar Rizvi. He was born and raised right here in the DC region. After completing his bachelor's in the IT field, he has been pursuing Hausa studies online through the Al-Hujjah Seminary under the guidance of Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Qazwini. He lectures and serves the greater Baltimore community. Brother Rizvi will speak on human rights, and let's welcome him with a loud salawat.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the all-beneficent, the all-merciful. And may Allah send His peace and blessings on the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and his pure progeny sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli. What better place than Washington, D.C. to send our message? If you look in this city, there's a memorial to those who fought in World War II. There's a memorial for those who fought in World War I. There's a memorial for those who served their country in the Korean War. There is a monument dedicated to our first president, known as what? The Washington Monument. That monument is so special and so sacred in American society that when there was an earthquake 10, 12 years ago, what happened? They spent money to ensure that that monument was rebuilt. There was no one buried in that monument. There's no grave in that monument. But what it represented was so precious to the American people that they said, even if an earthquake comes and damages it, we will spend taxpayer money and we will repair it. Why? Because what it represents. Now, I ask you a question. Go across the river. Go to a place known as the Arlington National Cemetery. There are over 400,000 people who are buried in that cemetery. And every single grave is marked. Every single grave has a name. The American people and our society has said what? That because you served this country, because you defended this country, because you honored this country, we will honor you. The only grave in the entire National Cemetery that's not marked actually is given more reverence and more importance than the other graves. Why? Because it's known as what? The tomb of the unknown soldier. And even though he's unknown, even though we don't know who he is, there is a statue built over here. There is a guard who's consistently protecting it. Why? Because this country recognizes how important it is to honor those who have come before. This country has recognized how important our history is and how important it is to preserve our history. Someone will come and they'll ask you, is this rebuilding of Baqee really that important? Do I really need to stand up and give my voice and speak out? Yes, it is among the most important things that you can do in your entire life. Why? If you go on Wikipedia and you search unmarked grave, okay, a grave that has no marker, do you know what Wikipedia says? What Wikipedia has done a better job of recognizing than Saudi Arabia has? What? It says that this is generally reserved for the worst of the worst criminals. Those people that we want society to forget about. People like Osama bin Laden, for example, people like school shooters, the worst, some of the worst, they say they're marked with graves with no marker because we want society to forget about them. We don't want them to be honored. That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is why would you then apply the same principle to those individuals who spent their lives defending and building the religion of Islam? The people who were closest to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. Rebuilding Baqee is not just about the 4 imams. Are the wives of the Prophet not buried there? Are the daughters of the Prophet not buried there? Are the companions of the Prophet not buried there? You tell me, who was closer to the Prophet than those individuals such as Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Someone will ask you, why does it matter to rebuild Baqee? It matters because the truth matters. It matters because justice matters. It matters because goodness matters. You are not asking for anything that is crazy or anything that you should be ashamed of. You're asking for basic human rights to be restored because history has to be preserved. There's nothing abnormal about saying that we want to honor and we want to remember the greatest of individuals, those people that the Prophet loved and cherished and respected. The reality is that while they accuse us of shirk and while they accuse us of polytheism, we not only are the school farthest from it, but there is no grave worshipping that goes on. There is no any type of worship that goes on other than the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one worships these graves. They tell you that. They tell you that as false propaganda. And I speak to all of humanity, and I speak to our Al-Sunnah brothers and sisters, that in Egypt, in Turkey, in Iraq, there is a grave over Abu Hanifa. There's a grave over Bukhari. The Al-Sunnah world knows that this is not polytheism. They know that there's nothing crazy about this. As our dear brother Sajjad said, in the Quran it's very clearly mentioned, in Surah 18 verse 21, among many other proofs. But the reality is that the Islam that they're practicing has nothing to do with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, it is the religion of Ibn Taymiyyah. Let them never, there is no hiding that. It is not the Prophet that they follow. The reality is that a man came hundreds of years later and started spreading his own opinion. And his own opinion is what became their truth, not the truth. There's a difference. So do not let the religion of Ibn Taymiyyah take over our true religion of Islam. Because the only one that we follow is Rasulullah, not Ibn Taymiyyah. We want nothing to do with him. So if you come and you tell us that this is shirk, you know it's not. Because if it was shirk, it would have been done. If it would have been banned by the Holy Prophet, it would have been banned by the other Khulafa, for example. The reality is that you're following Ibn Taymiyyah and Abdul Wahhab more than you're following Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Once you start recognizing that and realizing that, then the truth will come out. There is nothing idolatry that we want here. How hot it is in Saudi Arabia, how hot it is in Baqee, you won't even build any shade for the people to go and visit. There's over 10,000 graves there. People, when they go there, not just Shia, they want to know who is buried here. Who are these people? Why? Because we care about history. Everyone in the world agrees that a person should be honored after they die. Everyone will agree. So you tell me, why are the people who built this religion, the people who, if it was not for them, you would not have the Islam that you have today, why do they deserve to be treated like criminals and like the worst of the worst, when in reality they are the best of the best? That is why, never give up and always demand and request that we rebuild Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee,
rebuild Al-Baqee, 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 down, down Saudi regime, 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 down, down Saudi regime. Rebuild Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee now, 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 rebuild Al-Baqee now.
Saudi ISIS are the same. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Only difference is the name. Since 1985 alone, 98% of the Islamic heritage has been destroyed by the Salafi Wahhabi ideology. Their proxies, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Al-Nusra, Al-Hadid have all continued the same practice all around the world. In 2017, a pamphlet produced by the Saudi Ministry of Islamic Affairs was stating that they wanted to demolish the green dome over the Prophet's grave and also flatten the grave. This was exposed by the director of the Islamic Heritage Foundation, Dr. Irfan Alavi. Following that, there was a huge protest all around the world, especially in the Indo-Pak region. And because of that, this program was shelved. So don't think for a moment that these protests do not work. Okay? That's why we should be coming for these on a yearly basis. The next speaker is Ms. Zainab Abbas, who is a dedicated activist and a volunteer for Baqee, passionately advocating for justice and heritage preservation. Her commitment and enthusiasm make her an important voice for the youth. She will speak on the cultural heritage and the destruction of Baqee. Please welcome Zainab with a loud salman.
Al-Baqee, 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 Al-Baqee.
Respected ulama, esteemed guests and fellow believers, Assalamu alaikum. Today we gather with heavy hearts and resolute spirits as we contemplate the significance of Jannatul Baqee, a name that echoes through the corridors of history, a name that carries the weight of our shared heritage, and a name that has been etched into the very fabric of our souls. Jannatul Baqee, the garden of heaven, is not merely a cemetery. It is a sacred sanctuary where the luminaries of our faith, the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the righteous souls who dedicated their lives to the cause of Islam find their eternal rest. It is a place where the whispers of their deeds and the echoes of their piety reverberate throughout the ages, but inspiring both current and future generations of believers to uphold these values of truth, justice, and compassion. But tragically, this sacred ground has suffered desecration and destruction. Over 100 years ago, the Wahhabi sect started a campaign to demolish the sacred sanctuary of Baqee and the shrines of Al-Baqee. They started with Al-Baqee, but they continued their plan. Every Islamic heritage, every historic building in Makkah and Medina has been demolished. The house that belonged to Prophet Muhammad and Hazrat Khadija was demolished. The house that Prophet was born in Makkah was demolished, turned into a public library. Parts of the house of the Prophet were turned into public bathrooms. Destruction of sacred sites in Hijaz by Saudi Wahhabis continues even today. The Saudi government is demolishing these sites and so much more for the expansion of their businesses. You know the famous Hilton Hotel? That hotel was built on the ruins of the ancient house of our Prophet's uncle, Hazrat Abu Talib alayhi salam. In 2002, Makkah's Adiyat fortress, built by the Ottomans in 1780, was destroyed. In its place, one of the tallest buildings in the world, the Abraj al-Bayt. The Turkish government reacted with an official protest against Saudi Arabia, with a request for backing from UNESCO. UNESCO defines cultural heritage as encompassing artifacts, monuments, buildings, and sites, along with museums, each holding diverse values such as symbolic, historic, artistic, scientific, and social significance. These entities retain historical importance and are cherished as our heritage. The demolition of revered sites like Jannatul Baqee and Jannatul Mu'alla constitutes a crime against heritage. The Director General of UNESCO, Irina Bukova, called the deliberate destruction of heritage a war crime and a tactic of war, and that defending that heritage was of utmost importance. Audrey Azoulay, Minister for Culture and Communication of France, described the deliberate attacks on human heritage as stripping history of its lessons. In March of 2017, a 15-member Security Council of UN, which had representatives from countries including, but not limited to, France, Egypt, Russian Federation, United States, Japan, and United Kingdom, all reaffirmed that the destruction of cultural heritage is a deplorable act and constitutes a war crime. Even Interpol is beginning to get involved in dissuading the exploitation of heritage. So this act committed by the Wahhabis isn't simply wrong. This act is an active war crime. The graves of Prophet Muhammad's family members, his companions, have been razed to the ground, their memory trampled upon by the sands of time. This act of vandalism strikes at the very core of our identity as Muslims, for it seeks to erase the legacy of those who have dedicated their lives to Allah and His Messenger. Yet even in the face of such wanton destruction, we refuse to be silent. We refuse to allow the memory of Jannatul Baqee to fade into obscurity.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
We shall rebuild not just the physical structures, but the spiritual monument that once stood tall in this sacred place. Today I stand before you with a heart heavy with sorrow, but also determination. Sorrow for the tragedy that has befallen one of the most sacred sites in Islamic history, Jannatul Baqee, and determination to ensure that the memory of this revered site remains alive in our furthermore, determination, because with determination we will be able to move forward and regain the honor that the Saudi Arabian government tried to take from Baqee. The key word here is tried, because no matter what heinous actions they commit against us, they will never be able to truly take Baqee's honor away.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
The only honor lost in their process of demolition was their own. As an American girl, I've never experienced discrimination based on my gender in my own country. I've always had equal rights when it comes to going to school, attending a community event, seeking entertainment, and other various activities. However, I fear my experience would shift when entering sacred sites in Saudi Arabia. Suddenly, I would be treated with discrimination. I'm not allowed to enter Jannatul Baqee at all, and I see no reason why. Why can men enter and I can't? Why do my father and brother get to go, but I have to wait outside? We demand access for women to Jannatul Baqee and Jannatul Mu'alla. Extend visiting hours for prayer and solace for people of both genders, not just men. Let supplications and prayers be heard in peace. Do not deny us this blessing. Let Baqee's gates be open for Muslims worldwide.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
For Jannatul Baqee is more than just a collection of graves. It is a symbol of resilience, of faith, and of the enduring power of Islam. It calls upon us to stand united in the face of adversity, to uphold the values of justice and compassion that lie at the heart of our faith. In our protest, we aspire not merely to rebuild a sacred sanctuary, but to resurrect the essence of our heritage, igniting the flame of wisdom that guides us towards enlightenment. We demand they stop desecrating our sacred Baqee. We demand them to restore Baqee to its former glory, for them to cease destruction in Jannatul Baqee and Jannatul Mu'alla.
Rebuild Al-Baqee! Now! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Now! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Now! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
And to respect those who rest there. Let each grave tell its story, and every visitor approach with reverence. With great care, let's rebuild on these sacred grounds, for preserving these sites means preserving our heritage, honoring those who shaped our past. It is time for us to rise, not in anger or despair, but in steadfast determination and unwavering resolve. It is time for us to reclaim the legacy of Jannatul Baqee, to rebuild its sacred grounds, and to ensure that the memory of Jannatul Baqee lives on for all eternity. My dear brothers and sisters, we cannot afford to remain silent in the face of such injustice. We cannot allow the memory of Jannatul Baqee to fade into obscurity. For to forget Jannatul Baqee is to forget the sacrifices of those who came before us, to forget the teachings of our beloved Prophet, and to forget the essence of our faith. Let's stand together in unison as guardians of our shared heritage. Let us work tirelessly to restore the dignity of Jannatul Baqee, so it may shine as a beacon of hope and a testament to the enduring spirit of Islam, to the enduring spirit us Muslims hold. I stand here before you. You all stand here. What do you stand here for? What do we stand here for? We stand for Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Thank you.
Stand for justice, stand for Baqee. Stand for justice,
Stand for Baqee!
stand for for justice. Stand for Baqee. Stand for justice. Stand for Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Saudi Arabia, stop aggression. Saudi Arabia, stop aggression. Saudi Arabia, stop aggression. Saudi Arabia, stop oppression. Saudi Arabia, stop oppression. 1945, 1925 was not the first time Baqee had been destroyed. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, if we do nothing any day, that is a multi-million-dollar hotel may come at that priceless piece of real estate at that place. And that's where the Baqee organization comes in. Al-Baqee organization was established in 2007 and is under the guidance of a remarkable and humble alim Maulana Mahbub Mehdi. They raise awareness about rebuilding Jannatul Baqee and destruction of all Muslim heritage all over the world. For years, I've participated in this movement because I'm very passionate about this cause. But my passion pales in comparison to the passion of the core Baqee group who are over here. If you are not part of this movement, please become part of it by joining Baqee.org. And what can you do to help? You can protest like we're doing today. You can utilize social media, post these videos, etc. Use the hashtag Rebuild Baqee. Help obtain funding. Exert political pressure. Most importantly, and this is the most important part of it all, believe that Al-Baqee can be built. Because that's when you will do some work. That's the most important part. To present to you the next speaker, who is the heart and soul of this organization, and he didn't want to speak today, but I'm asking him to do so and present the memorandum to the Saudi Arabian government, is Brother Kumail Rizvi.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee. I am here just to represent to you. This Al-Baqee organization is just a namesake organization who is representing you. This is your voice that needs to be heard. So I need it louder. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Pardon me, I'm gonna turn the back. Honorable Ambassador Princess Rima Bandar, you are kindly requested to come outside and accept the memorandum, which is basically the ask of all of these US citizens that came here to your doorstep. We have asked for you to send a representative to meet with us. We asked for you to actually get an appointment to meet with us. We are asking you now at your doorstep here. It is your responsibility as the ambassador of your nation to listen to the citizens. We are the citizens of this country. It is your responsibility, Princess Rima, to come and listen to the citizens of the country that are raising the concerns about your country in this place. Princess Rima, we are asking you hear the voices of these individuals. And let me read that to everyone over here. Again, I'm going to try to be brief. There are essentially 4 asks. And mashallah, Brother Jafar Rizvi and Zainab, they're both articulated very well. I'm going to summarize it again, and you're going to hear these same themes in the next set of speakers as well. Our primary demands to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is permit women to enter Jannatul Baqee and Jannatul Mu'alla. Extend the visiting hours for everyone. Second, immediately halt the destruction and desecration of shrines, graves. You don't think it's just Baqee that's being demolished and razed and continuously being eradicated? Those historical slides, even Baqee and in Mu'alla? Trust me, it's happening on a daily basis. There are landmarks that are being destroyed and deleted or basically wiped from the maps on a daily basis. If you need evidence, come talk to us. We have that evidence. We've been keeping track of that. Number 3, remove harassing personnel from Jannatul Baqee, especially those who initiate argumentative confrontation. These individuals, you all go to Baqee not to, get harassed. We are there to pay homage, pay salutations. It is a peaceful act, and this country doesn't want to adhere to that. Allow Muslims, all Muslims, to pay homage and arrange special events to celebrate the birthdays and mark the commemorations. There is more to this, and inshallah you will hear, you will see all of that. I also wanted to emphasize one other thing, which is important, and I would like all of you, citizens who are voting, all of you need to demand your government representatives. We, all of us, the Baqee organization, we are part of what is called civil organization. It is a UN recognized institution, comprises of all NGOs. We are part of that. And we are asking, as part of that institution policies, it is their duty, because they have signed that agreement, that they will adhere to all of these policies. And they are not adhering to those commitments. Secondly, you as a US citizen, the State Department requires all their ambassadors to listen to you. You all have the right to send email to them. You all have right to go and meet with them. Express your demands, express your ask. I urge you, there is a web form on their website. Submit that today, if it's possible. Ask them to rebuild Baqee. You're entitled to call them. You're entitled to call them and voice your concern and make sure that they hear, they register that, get that receipt. It is important for you. It is their duty from the State Department, from US State Department, that they need to listen to you. Try to take advantage of all of those rights. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Today's Makkah looks very different because of the skyscrapers that tower the holy Kaaba. And this is why the Research Foundation's Executive Director, Dr. Alawi, refers to it as Makkah Hatton. They created this Makkah Hatton by destroying a lot of structures, some of which were mentioned by Zainab earlier. They destroyed the mountain of Bani Hashim, the mosque of Hazrat Hamza, the mosque of Hazrat Bilal, the house of Hazrat Abu Talib, the house of Sayyida Amina, where Rasulullah Khuda was born, is at least a library. The house of Sayyida Khadija, with Janab Fatima Zahra Salamullahi Alayha was born, was excavated and destroyed. And you may remember what she mentioned. What was built on top of that? Can any of you tell me what was built on top of that? This is the place where Jibreel brought his wahi. What was built on top of that? What was built? Toilets. Toilets. They could have done anything. They built toilets. Not just toilets. 1,400 toilets. Just think about it. Just imagine what we are asking of you. We are asking about rebuilding Baqee. Otherwise, this is what is going to be the future of Al-Baqee.
Down, Saudi regime!
Down, down, Saudi regime!
Down, down!
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 Saudi regime!
Terrorists! 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 Terrorists!
Our next speaker, Sheikh Sayyid Al-Kulkuliani, was born and raised in New York as Ahl-Sunnah. Sheikh accepted the Shia faith in his teens. He studied at the Hausa Imam Institute and in Karbala. Having worked in multiple Imam Bargas, he's currently the resident alim of Zahara Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. He has authored 3 books and numerous articles. Sheikh will speak on visitation to Baqee, and let's welcome him with a loud salawat.
Al-Baqee, 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 Al-Baqee.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام أشرف المرسلين وخاتم النبيين ابن المجتبى أبي قاسم محمد مصطفى قال الله تعالى في محكم الكتاب العزيز بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم with us إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. When we think about heritage and tradition, we find that these 2 things work hand in hand. Because it is heritage, this is how we know who we are or where we're from. And through the tradition, whether the tradition is through verbal or maybe through what we've seen, we also know how we are. So we see that these 2 things are very important. Whether our older generation is telling us about our heritage or they telling us verbally about our traditions, we know that it's important for us to be able to spread that to the next generation. Because if we didn't spread that to the next generation, eventually no one would remember. So when any type of terrorists come or any type of tyrant come, the first thing in which they do is they start to tear down monuments. They start to destroy books. They start to have people forget about who they are or whatever they come from. This is the first thing in which they do. Because eventually if we control the narrative and no longer allow these people to know their traditions and their heritage, then we can start telling them the way how they should see things or how they should verbalize things or how they should do things. This is what happens. You see that in Bosnia, a lot of places, the first thing they do, they strip you from your heritage. This is how you start to do dominance. But we found that the Saudi people, the Saudi regime is so backwards because this heritage is also their heritage. So how in the world are you going to take away your own heritage? It just don't make sense to me. It's kind of like mind-boggling if you ask me. You say, you know what? I understand this is my heritage. I'm just going to destroy it. So maybe my next generation, they don't know. You know what? Forget our heritage. Let's just open liquor stores and have casinos and stuff like that. This is not important. What's important right now is what we're doing now. Forget our heritage. So we look at how they see things in the backwardness of these so-called scholars of maybe 100 years, and we start to realize that even amongst these scholars that a long time ago, they saw Jannatul Baki and they saw all these different shrines and no one said anything about it. I'm talking about real scholars that actually wrote real books from amongst their scholars. Like real good books, not these other guys that, let's say for instance, what's his name, Ibn Taymiyyah, that during his time, the people, the scholars of his time, they considered him as one of them like a disbeliever and they wanted to kill him, but somewhere down the line, 100 years later now, he's one of the biggest scholars amongst the scholars. How is this? This is just kind of weird, I just don't understand. It's just very interesting. And then I look at how they talking about they should level the graves, but then when I look at the picture of Ibn Taymiyyah's grave, he has a structure over it. I said, man, this is a lot of contradiction we have in here. Like how is this? It's like the person who speaks but yet is silent. There's so much contradiction. So much so that their scholars even say that all these people are wrong in their interpretation of whatever they think it is because this is not correct. So how can scholars of just 100 years combat the scholars of over 1,000 years when it comes down to these rulings? Just don't make sense. Let's just forget about our heritage and just let everything go. It's not important, you know? It's not important for us. You know, let's not build over graves. Wait a minute. I remember going for Umrah, and as I'm going from Umrah, I passed this place, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was buried there, and it was a structure over it. Very interesting. I found that very interesting that we only have a particular chain of thought, like only certain things. Wait a minute, hold on. Oh, wait a minute, I know. It is a problem when the Shia, they build things over graves. But when we do it, it's okay. Why? Because this is what we say. It's okay when we do it, but if they do it, then it's a problem. Ain't that something, right? It's a problem when we do it, because that's what it all boils down to. If the Shia do it, then it's a problem. But if I do it, it is okay.
I'm gonna hold it now.
Don't listen to what I said. Just follow what I tell you. Don't know. What I do is what I do. What I tell you, you should do this. So I tell you that we should not have any type of structure over Baqee, but I'm going to build a shrine over here for maybe Abu Hanifa, or maybe Shafi, or maybe all the other guys. But it's okay. It's okay. But you, Shia, no. You cannot do it because there's something wrong with that. It's contradiction. It don't make sense. It just don't make sense to me. I don't know. I'm just leave Bible here if you don't mind me having this conversation with you. It's just, as I sit and I think and I'm like, why would we think this way? How can we allow them to take away our heritage? See, because at the end of the day, because the place in which is, how can I say, that symbolizes is Ahlul Bayt. Because it symbolizes Ahlul Bayt, we must take it away. You know why? Because Ahlul Bayt is actually a threat if you really think about it. Why? Because we don't just follow, how can I say, our rulers because some person made some hadith say you must follow your rulers even though they may be corrupt. No, we follow Ahlul Bayt. How we follow Ahlul Bayt? Because Rasulullah said he's going to leave us two weighty things, the Quran and what? My household. So when we follow these people, we know that these people are masoom and that these people is going to guide us right. They're going to keep us on that path, that straight path. But these other people, one day I may feel this way, the next day I may feel that way. I don't know, maybe I said do this and maybe I said that. Oh, wait a minute, King, you going to give me some money? Oh, I changed my fatwa because of this. He gave me some fulus, so now my fatwa has changed. So this is how they think about things. So we look at this, we're like, hey. And then I sit even more boggled. And I said to myself, are we as Shia that dangerous? Or is it that because our doctrines is so pure that if someone hear what we have to say or they do these type of things, then people will start to say, wait a minute, let me see what's in their books. And wait a minute, what you saying is not correct. These Shia people are correct and that Jannatul Baqee should be built. And why did you do it in the first place? This is the problem why they don't want to acknowledge or try to acknowledge. What is the problem? I don't know. Maybe somebody can answer this question for me. Because if you don't know your past, you will not know your future. If your past, you will just continue to repeat things over and over and over and over again. But since that our heritage of Ahlul Bayt, we know our heritage. Whether we seen our heritage or we heard our heritage through our ears, we know that we must fight to make sure that this heritage is not only for this generation, but the generations to come. So we will not allow somebody to just say, oh, we're just going to tear this down and we're just going to make these regular places, because at the end of the day, we see the people that did, like Benin is there. You see how the love for Ahlul Bayt for Benin was said, if you come back and safe and sound and Imam Hussein is hurt, I do not want to see you. We have to have this type of drive that we must go forth and fight for our right for Ahlul Bayt. Just saying. Let me go now. I think I might have just said too much or too long. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee! please, if anybody have these ideas about this boggling situation I'm trying to figure out, please send me a letter or email me, because I am confused about how they think. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Say it loud, say it clear.
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 Saudi killers not welcome here.
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 Say it loud, say it clear.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Saudi killers not welcome here.
Saudi killers not welcome here.
Baqee is the oldest cemetery in Islam, and one in which the Prophet used to visit every Thursday. Jannatul Baqee represents more than a cemetery, a lot more. It represents the personalities buried there and what they stood for. It represents the feminism of the Lady of the Heavens standing in the court of the first Khalifa demanding her Islamic rights. It represents the thousands of lives saved by the peace treaty of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. It represents the compilation of the human rights in Risalatul Huquq by Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. It represents the knowledge and wisdom of the greatest educators ever, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam and Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Remember, the Prophet told us in Surah 42 verse 23, I don't seek any reward except the love for my family. But they couldn't even give him that satisfaction. Our next speaker, Sheikh Al-Hayari, was born in Qum and later attended the seminary there. He then immigrated to Iraq and continued his studies in the seminary of Najaf and in Karbala. Currently, he's serving the community of Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Dar ul Hikmah Islamic Center. Let us welcome the Sheikh with a loud salawat.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من همزات الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله على ما أنعم وله الشكر على ما ألهم والثناء بما قدم من عموم نعم ابتدأها وسبوغ آلاء أسداها وتمام منن والاها، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المظلومين المعصومين، سيما مولانا ومقتدانا وإمامنا الحاضر مولانا حجة ابن الحسن المهدي روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. وأما بعد، قال الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم كتابه المبين: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخش إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا من المهتدين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد. Before I start, just a very small request. Can I ask my respected brothers who are far away to come closer? I think we have maybe one or two more speakers. Then inshallah we'll walk towards the White House inshallah. If you can come closer while you all are calling and screaming the name of Baqee, inshallah. Al-Baqee, 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 Al-Baqee. In the beginning, I would like to offer my condolences to the Imam of our time, and also my apologies to the Imam of our time, Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajuh al-Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. On this event, destruction of Jannatul Baqee, and to all lovers and followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, over a century has passed since the demolition, destruction of Jannatul Baqee. The issue, the problem of Jannatul Baqee and rebuilding Jannatul Baqee is not only for Shias, it's not only for the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, it's for all Muslims, and not only Muslims, for every human being who's looking for justice. The issue of Baqee, rebuilding Jannatul Baqee, belongs to them. Why? Because Jannatul Baqee is a place that doesn't belong to this regime, doesn't belong to this family to destroy whatever they want, to build whatever they want. No one gave them authority to destroy and build. Who told them that they can destroy Jannatul Baqee or to give some certain places to some respected or maybe unrespected rich people to build whatever they want? It's an issue for everyone who's looking for justice, not only for Shias, not only for the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. For people who came here earlier, we see some museums here, as my brother also mentioned. We have, for example, here the Museum of American History, Art Museum, the Bible Museum. Anyone wrote any part of Bible, you can find his picture there, his word there, his writing there. The museum, the history museum here, the history of this country should be respected. If you go, there are some certain things that you cannot even touch in order to respect it, right? If you want to respect a country, respect the history of that country, bad or good. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the cemetery of Baqee, and this is the reason why we gathered here. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt, 4 successors of the Prophet, their grave, the dome on their shrine was demolished, was destroyed because of an unbelievable authority that they made for themselves, because of some businesses that they want to do for themselves. Shame on them. We are gathered to remember the legacy, the shrine of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in Jannatul Baqee, and to tell them that you don't have any authority to do anything you want. Same as the city of Mecca and Medina, you don't have authority. That belongs to all Muslims. Same thing about the cemetery of Jannatul Baqee. What's their excuse? What is their justification? Don't visit any grave, otherwise you are a mushrik, otherwise you are a kafir. If we are a mushrik when we go to, then all people who are standing here, Muslims and non-Muslims, let me tell you, these people are saying that you are going to hellfire. Why? And if you go to any museum, if you go to any memorial place, any cemetery, in their opinion, you are going to hellfire. That's why we are here, and we are calling that terrorists, 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 terrorists. On the other hand, we are not here to commemorate some ordinary people. No, these people not only do not respect history, not only they do not respect important figures in history. The first school in Islam was built during the time of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Not only they destroyed the first school of Islam, they even demolished the grave of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, the shrine of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. But today I'm here. I know some of you are tired, but let me tell something. 100 years have passed. 1 century has passed since the destruction of Jannatul Baqee. 100 years of regret. 100 years of shame. 100 years of silence is finally over. We will not allow this oppression and crime to continue any more years. That's why you see thousands of people here. But let me tell you something. Millions of people all around the world on a day same as today, they gathered and they all calling out Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild. Yes, my grandfathers, they didn't see a dome over the grave of Jannatul Baqee, the shrines of Ummatul Baqee. Maybe some of us, our fathers, even they didn't see a dome on the graves of Jannatul Baqee. We haven't seen it, but we will not allow our next generation to see a demolished Jannatul Baqee. That's why we are here to tell them that yes, you deprived us, but we will fight for us, and we will not allow our next generation to see a demolished dome on the graves of Jannatul Baqee. That's why I bring my son Muhsin here to call and to tell all young generation, the next generation, that we will not allow Jannatul Baqee to be destroyed. Yes. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. There's another new slogan we're gonna start. Respect our past, rebuild Al-Baqee fast. Respect our past. 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 They can kill, they can lie. They can kill, they can lie. Baqee, Baqee will never die. Baqee, Baqee will never die. When he conquered Hijaz, their king Abdulaziz had built a fort. Saudis have converted this fort into a museum and have also entered it into a UNESCO heritage site. This fort contains his robe, his walking stick, his glasses, and also a Rolls Royce represented by President Roosevelt. They also claim to have Rasulullah Khuda's robe and his walking stick there. Aren't these items bid'ah? If we kiss the Kaaba, a mutaba will hit us. There is evidence that the Prophet himself used to kiss the Kaaba. Okay, so you himself used to kiss the Kaaba. Okay, so you don't kiss the Kaaba, but you have no problem bowing down and kissing the hands of Mohammed bin Salman, Donald Trump, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry. This hypocrisy knows no bounds. To my respected scholars, is there anything in the Quran that says destroy buildings, otherwise you will be misguided? And also, do we have any records of the Prophet himself destroying any places of worship? He actually preserved churches, synagogues, at every place that he went to, as he felt the name of Allah was being worshipped over there. And we can therefore say the Wahhabi rulings themselves are bid'ah. Now on the topic of women, Saudi Arabia, of all countries, has been appointed as the chair of United Nations Commission on the Status of Women in 2025. And what changed it? Mohammed bin Salman bring around to the women's right? He allowed them to drive. Whoop to do. And also, he asked Shakira to perform while Gaza was burning. While on the topic of Gaza, we see these images, these gut-wrenching images from Gaza every day. Our hearts melt for those people. And remember, it is the same oppressors. Do not think it is the Zionists without their help. We know from the recent past how they have helped behind the scenes, and they have come out openly and said how they have helped. They are helping the destruction of Gaza today. Terrorists, terrorists! Terrorists, terrorists! Terrorists, terrorists!
Before we start our march to the White House, we have a couple of speakers who are going to play a tag and will speak about women's rights. Sayyida Narjis Razvi and Sayyida Maryam Razvi are passionate activists preserving cultural heritage. They are the daughters of Baqee board members Kumail and Shia Razvi. They have been volunteering and participating in these Baqee protests for a very long time. And as I said, they will tag along and speak on the topic of women's rights. Let us welcome Narjis and Maryam with a loud salman. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Assalamu alaikum, respected scholars, elders, brothers, and sisters. How long will Saudi Arabia ignore its responsibility for Baqee's preservation? My fellow citizens of this great nation, the shared purpose burning in our hearts that has motivated us to gather here to commemorate the destruction of one of the holiest cemeteries known as Jannatul, which lies in the city of Medina in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We stand in solidarity to demand change, to demand justice, and to demand equality. We stand here to protest for the exclusion of women from visiting Jannatul in the land where Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's companions, rest. The Baqee cemetery stands as a testament of atrocities. The Saudi government has turned a blind eye, allowing the sands of time to bury the memories of our forefathers. Shame on the Saudi government for neglecting our sacred site. Shame on the Saudi government for discouraging women in the name of Islam.
I extend my greetings to you with a heavy heart as we address the grave injustice inflicted upon one of the most esteemed women in Islam. Despite its holiness and importance to Muslims worldwide, women are unjustly restricted from setting foot into its hallowed ground, denied the right to pay their respects and take part in preservation. A noble lady, Sayyida Fatima Zahra, salamullah alayha, who imparted to us the principles of humanity and sacrificed her life for Islam, deserves our utmost respect. However, we witness the tarnishing of Islam's image by Saudi's actions, violence, the killing of innocent children, oppression against women, and the desecration of sacred graves. Shame on them for using violence in the name of Islam.
We are demanding to reclaim our heritage, our religion, and our beliefs. All countries, cultures, religions worldwide have made unified efforts to protect their sacred sites, especially notable personality graves. It is so sad to say that there are so-called Muslims violating all the teachings and principles of Islam. Those are no other than so-called custodians of the true holy sites of Islam.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
If you ever feel worthless, keep in mind that this society exists. As more and more people have come to understand, Saudi Arabia is the United States puppet that has forsaken Palestinian Muslims while completely ignoring the genocide against our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Similar to how Muawiyah did 1400 years ago. In order to hold on to power, he only issued orders that benefited him.
These illiterates call themselves Muslims, the first religion that gave women rights. How dare you misuse that and restrict us from visiting the mother of the believer's grave? Not only is is this exclusion a matter of policy, but it also represents unfair actions and gender inequality that have no place in Islam nor any other civilized community. It is a rejection of our common humanity, of women's dignity and agency, and of their equal rights and duties as Muslims, unlike these pathetic liars who want to erase Islam's history.
Last year, we had mentioned about the Saudi Arabia 2030 vision. If you haven't seen it, please go search it up. Saudi Arabia is planning on changing their entire economy. They're completely depriving Muslims, destroying all historical sites. There are so many historical sites that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has celebrated various amount of events. However, sadly, only little of that is known. Wahhabi violence has so severely mocked Islam to the point where Muslims are subjected to injustice and labeled as terrorists when neither Al Saud nor ISIS practice Islam. This is why we are here to protest, to expose the true terrorists. Terrorists! 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 Do they deserve holding on to the Prophet's legacy? No! Do they deserve on holding on to the Prophet's legacy? No! Is it fair for Saudi Arabia to restrict access to Jannatul Baqee based on gender, denying equal rights to Muslims? No! Who is responsible for destroying the graves of Prophet Muhammad's family in Baqee? Who is responsible for destroying the graves of Prophet Muhammad's family in Baqee? Does Saudi Arabia have the right to have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet's name on their flag? No! Which country has a historical responsibility for rebuilding Baqee? Saudi Arabia! Where should global attention be focused for Baqee's revival? Saudi Arabia! Who established the rule that permits women to drive in Saudi Arabia but restricts them from entering the Baqee? MBS! Whose grandfather is responsible for the destruction of Baqee Cemetery on April 21st, 1926? MBS! Whose grandfather is responsible for the destruction of Baqee Cemetery on 8th of Shawaal, 1344? MBS! Our mission is clear: to protect and preserve Islamic heritage sites, halt violence in the name of Islam, seize the discouragement of women, and put an end to the misuse of our tax money. How dare these people disrespect the family of the Prophet? How dare they desecrate the graves of our beloved people? What lies in the darkness right across from our Prophet's gaze? How can we continue violence, nonsense and arrogance while the unjust rulers of this kingdom restrict Muslims' presence? The daughter of the Prophet whose ribs were broken and house was burnt. The grandson of the Prophet who was poisoned and coffin was shot with arrows. The great-grandsons of the Prophet who were poisoned and tortured. And the household of the Prophet who were chained and dragged around cities like criminals.
Al Saud, terrorist, terrorist!
Al Saud, terrorist, terrorist, terrorist! Al Saud, terrorist, terrorist, terrorist! Al Saud, terrorist! Maryam, let me share with you a tradition mentioned in Sihah Sita. Qais narrates that she saw Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Jannatul Baqee, who said to her, "Do you see this graveyard? From it 70,000 will be resurrected on the day of judgment, illuminate like moonlight. They will enter paradise without reckoning." Yes, Nurjis, it's fascinating. Let me share with you another tradition from one of the other books of Sihah. It was narrated from Aisha that the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, gave permission for visiting the graves. And you can find the source in Sunan Ibn Majah, hadith number 1570. Knowing the reality we live in and the efforts to erase the identity, how can we explain this to the Imam of our time and his presence, leaving the final resting place of his family in darkness and silence? The family of our Prophet is left with no signs of graves. As we demonstrate here in support of Sayyidah Fatima rights to justice, one of her possible burial locations is at Jannatul Baqee, and it is completely abandoned.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! saints of Islam. Following the Prophet's passing, she faced threats, lost her unborn child Mohsen, was denied Fadak, and is now being denied access to her mausoleum 1400 years later. Labbaik ya Zahra! Labbaik ya Zahra! Women are required to remain outside the gate by a wall, to the point it is impossible to discover the graves themselves. But beyond boundaries, women claim their place under Jannatul Baqi's guiding light. And as opposed to these shameful liars who wish to destroy history and label individuals as irrelevant, it is revolting that they have destroyed the family of the Prophet, but placed plated walls around their Sahaba's tomb. And please refrain from attacking me, but the Prophet's daughter and sons should be treated with the same dignity as the Saudi government desecrated their graves under the pretext of idolatry.
Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can bring about change. Let us raise our voices and work towards a future where all Muslims can proudly and freely honor their history and their loved ones at Jannatul Baqee. Let our voices resonate as a force for change. Honor the past and protect the future. Rebuild Al-Baqee now! Rebuild Al-Baqee now! Rebuild Al-Baqee now! Rebuild Al-Baqee now! Now, Princess Rima, I know you're inside. I know you can hear me. We have been coming here year after year since 2007. How dare you desecrate the graves of our beloved people? With voices strong, our hearts unite. Princess Rima, bring back the sight. History whispers that goes clear.
Rima, let Baqee reappear.
Justice for Baqee, we won't rest. Princess Rima,
do your best.
From DC to Saudi land,
Baqee's restoration is in your hand. We will not be silent. We will not let Baqee fade into oblivion where every stone tells a story.
Do not wait till the day of judgment to regret what sins you have committed. Your kingdom has no right to have Allah's name nor Prophet's name on your flag. Rebuild Al-Baqee now. Shame on Saudi. Shame on you, Saudi, for desecrating the graves of our beloved people. Shame on you, Saudi, for discouraging the woman in the name of Islam. Shame on you, Saudi. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Okay, they have taken our memorandum. Now I'm going to ask on behalf of all of these citizens over here, Princess Rima, you owe us a response. You owe us a response so that we can relay it to the rest of the community and the citizens over here. Your response is going to be awaited. As Narjis and Mariam just mentioned, we are going to come back again next year on the same day, and maybe before that as well, and maybe before that. You owe us a response. We are the citizens of the United States. You owe us a response, and we're going to be waiting on you for that. Now, my dear friends, we're going to be walking towards the White House, you know, the controller of this puppet. And we're going to make the demands over there as well. So please follow the volunteers. You're going to be walking this way, and please stay within the limits of the outer ring. We request all of you, please stay united. There's going to be a long walk, and stay united, and we will walk towards the White House, and we will end it over there. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Terrorist, terrorist! Terrorist, terrorist! Terrorist, terrorist! Terrorist, terrorist! Terrorist, terrorist! terrorists! Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi! 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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Rebuild Al-Baqi. 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 Al-Baqi, 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 Al-Baqi. Terrorist, terrorist. 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 Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Rebuild 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 Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi. regime. Down, down. Saudi 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 regime.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. 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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
America, let us not forget that this is a punishable crime to desecrate, damage, or even vandalize a grave, regardless of who it belongs to. And the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has been getting away with the destruction and violation of our heritage for over a century. If you ever feel useless, remember that the Saudi Heritage Preservation Society exists. How many more years will we have to watch our historical monuments be erased by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? For how long will our voices be silent? For how long will our history be disrespected? We demand our heritage back. We demand the restoration of our holy sites. We demand the protection of our rights. We will hold Saudi Arabia responsible for violently destroying our sacred sites, destroying our heritage. The Crown Prince is a terrorist. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi.
Al-Baqi.
ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
same. Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
My fellow citizens of this great nation, we have gathered here to protest for our rights. We have gathered here to demand Saudi to rebuild Baqee Cemetery, which lies in the city of Medina, in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We demand Saudi Arabia to let women enter Baqee Cemetery, halt violence in the name of Islam, and put an end to the misuse of our tax money. Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
My fellow citizens, join us in helping raising our voices to rebuild our shared legacy. Shame on those who betray Islam's teachings and heritage. Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Which country has the historical responsibility for rebuilding Baqee?
Saudi Arabia!
Who is responsible for destroying the graves of Prophet Muhammad's family in Baqee?
Saudi Arabia!
Where should global attention be focused for Baqee's revival?
Saudi Arabia! Who do they deserve holding on to Prophet's legacy?
No!
Is it fair for Saudi Arabia to restrict access to Jannatul Baqee based on gender?
No!
Does Saudi Arabia have the right to have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or Prophet's name on their flag?
No!
Who is responsible for destroying the graves of Prophet Muhammad's family in Baqee?
Saudi Arabia!
Who established the rule that permits women to drive in Saudi Arabia but restricts them from entering Baqee?
Saudi Arabia!
Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now!
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 Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Rebuild al-Baqi! Now! Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name.
Today we march through the streets to protest an attack upon our religious freedom. The Saudi Arabian government tore down the shrine of Jannatul Baqee, which houses the graves of our holy figures and saints. The destruction of this sacred site is a direct assault upon our fundamental right to practice our faith without fear or interference. It is a violation of our religious liberties. Our protest is a declaration that we refuse to stand idly by as our heritage is erased and our beliefs are marginalized. We demand the preservation of Jannatul Baqee as a symbol of our right to worship freely and honor our ancestors. In defending Jannatul Baqee, we defend the very essence of religious freedom, the right to practice our faith without persecution or prejudice.
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi. Rebuild Al-Baqi. 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 Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Respect our past. Rebuild Al-Baqi fast. 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 Respect our past. Rebuild Al-Baqi al-Baqee fast.
Respect our past.
Rebuild 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 al-Baqee fast.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild al-Baqee.
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 Terrorist, terrorist.
Al-Saud terrorist.
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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
According to the Al Saud, carrying the self-made Wahhabi ideology of their pathetic ancestors, they are okay with being murderers. They're okay with being terrorists. They're okay to being oppressive to humanity. But no, according to these hypocrites, we can't build a shrine around the grave of the Prophet's daughter and his family in Baqee because that is shirk. This isn't just a Shia or a Muslim issue, it's a humanitarian issue. Because I don't need to mention how many innocent people Saudi Arabia is responsible for killing and torturing. And I don't need to mention how the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is responsible for major terrorist organizations like ISIS. And I don't need to mention how the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is behind the extremist and oppressive Wahhabi ideology, or that because of their actions, Muslims like you and I face Islamophobia around the world today. Terrorists, terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorist!
Terrorists, terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorist!
Terrorist, terrorist.
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 Al-Saud terrorist!
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same. same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now.
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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Little do they know, we will come here every year. Every voice they're trying to suppress will be amplified. Fatima is that personality that was never given peace. This ummah has betrayed her since the minute the Prophet died until today. And she taught us how to fight against injustice and for our rights. So it is of our utmost importance that today, when Our Lady Zahra's rights are violated, we stand up against the tyrant rulers of our time. Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
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 Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
We are gathered here, so if there are people that are walking around that are wondering why these people are chanting over here. The reason we are chanting is we have been robbed of our heritage. We have been totally destroyed. Saudi Arabia has totally destroyed our heritage. They have taken 90% of all Islamic cultural heritage, architectural, and they've destroyed it and demolished. And on top of that, what they have done is built public toilets, library, hotels. Can you imagine if somebody were to come over here and say that we will destroy these great monuments that we have in this country and we're going to build toilets over them? How would you feel? Would you allow it? Would anybody allow it? No! That is against humanity. That is against your culture. That is against your diversity. That is against what we stand for. That is against what we are going for the future. Your generations are getting robbed. Your generations are getting robbed of the culture and the history. Everything that what we stand for in this country, if somebody were to come and say, hey, let's demolish and build a great new hotel over there, you would probably lynch him. And we are saying the same thing. We are saying that our culture, our architecture, our religious sites, our shrines, they have been demolished to bring on, in the name of progress, and that is wrong because they are trying to inflict their ideology on the rest of the Muslim world. These are the same people that came to you on 9/11. Remember that they are destructive force. These are the destructive force that are destroying our heritage, and that's why we are here chanting today and bringing attention to this cause. This is a very noble cause for us. It's a very religious cause for us, and we are bringing attention. So, if you can go on www.baqee.org, that's B-A-Q-E-E, B-A-Q-E-E, www.baqee.org. You will get all the information. If you have any questions, you can email us at info@baqee.org. Again, Baqee, B-A-Q-E-E. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Today, those who visit Al-Baqee are not greeted by the beauty and majesty that is deserving of those honored graves, but by a lonely, dark, and depressing landscape of broken stones, stripped of the dignified shrines that once adorned them. This vandalism, executed by the Wahhabis, extends beyond Baqee to encompass the entire Islamic heritage of Mecca and Medina, leaving behind a trail of demolished relics and desecrated sites. Let us restore our holy sites and cultural heritage to their past glory. Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Now!
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 This demolition of Jannatul Baqee is not one incident that has forced us to come out and protest. We've been victim of a series of oppression and crimes of Wahhabis throughout. When we are protesting to rebuild Baqee, we're not simply asking for the rebuilding of bricks and mortar, but we're asking for the reinstatement of morals, principles, ideals, and ideologies, which will raise our intellectual mind. Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Now!
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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Sayyidah Fatima gave her life in defense of Islam, the daughter of the Prophet. Following the Prophet's passing, she faced threats, lost her unborn child Mohsin, was denied fadak, and is now being denied access to her mausoleum 1,400 years later.
لبيك يا زهراء
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 Terrorists, terrorists!
الصوت terrorists
Terrorists, terrorists!
الصوت terrorists
Terrorists, terrorists!
الصوت terrorists
Terrorists, terrorists!
الصوت terrorists
Rebuild Baqee now! Rebuild Baqee
now
Rebuild Baqee
now
Rebuild Baqee
now
Rebuild Baqee
now
لبيك يا زهراء
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 البقي البقي
البقي
البقي Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists. Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Terrorists, terrorists.
Al-Saud terrorists.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
My fellow citizens, we are here to protest in the name of humanity. We are protesting the desecration, the demolition of human rights by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the funders of all the terrorism that you see around the world. My friends, we are here to demand the rebuilding, the reconstruction, the restoration of sacred sites that have been demolished by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Our future generations are going to be deprived of these holy personalities, sacred personalities, important personalities that have built the nations, that have built the character, that have built the foundations of Islam. Their shrines have been desecrated and demolished by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We are protesting that demolition, and we are demanding the restoration and the rebuilding of those holy sacred sites by all the citizens that came here from the different parts of United States. There are similar protests that are happening and are also happening in Los Angeles, Houston, New York is going to do that in a couple of days. The similar protests are also happening around the world as well, in London, in Frankfurt, in New Delhi, in various parts of Asia, Toronto, Ottawa, Pakistan, Karachi, Delhi, and many more places that I can tell. So we are here to demand our rights. We ask you to join us. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
The demolition of Jannatul Baqee, Jannatul Mu'alla, and other historical places of historical and religious importance is a crime committed to the heritage. History and heritage are two words that always go together. History is the study of the past, and heritage is what we have inherited from the past, to value and enjoy in the present, and to preserve and pass on to future generations. Terrorists, terrorists! Terrorists, terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists! Terrorists, terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists!
Terrorists, terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists!
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is their name.
same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
America, have we forgotten how many innocent people Saudi has killed? How many mass murders they've committed and gotten away with? Have we forgotten the criminal, the clown, the crown prince Mohammed bin Salman? The worst part is that they've restricted women from visiting these graveyards. Not only have they destroyed Baqee, but they won't even allow women to visit the ruins of the grave of Our Lady Zahra. But my question for all of you is, why for centuries are Saudi Arabia oppressive to women? And why are they restricting women in areas Islam told them not to? And most importantly, why are they so afraid of giving women rights? It's because they know that there is a woman in history whose legacy they are desperately trying yet failing to erase, who stood up against the injustice being done to women at her time. That lady was none other than Fatima Zahra. Labbaik ya Zahra!
Labbaik ya Zahra!
Labbaik ya Zahra!
Labbaik ya Zahra!
Labbaik ya Zahra.
Labbaik ya Zahra!
Labbaik ya Zahra.
Labbaik ya Zahra!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
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 Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now!
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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
This is all for the local people that are walking by. You are hearing us chant, Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee. What is Al-Baqee? You must be wondering, what are they chanting? What is Baqee? Baqee is the first and the oldest cemetery that is located in Medina, Saudi Arabia. That's why we are saying down, down to Saudi Arabia. Al-Baqee Cemetery is known as the Garden of Heaven. That is cemetery that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam buried his first companion, buried his wife over there, and also his son. So you see, that is a very, very detrimental thing for us that somebody that would go out there and have the audacity to demolish and destroy that kind of cemetery and then stand up and say that we did it in the name of progress. That's why we are saying Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee, rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, 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 Al-Baqee,
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee,
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee,
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee,
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
rebuild Al-Baqee,
Now!
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 rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now!
Baqee is a symbol of faith, a symbol of hope, and a symbol of humanity. Days pass into weeks, months pass into years, and now a century has passed. And we've noticed every year the pure ignorance of the Saudi embassy is pathetic. The World Watch, as doormat representatives of Saudi, refuse to acknowledge a memorandum presented by a crowd of people. Maybe because in it was a list of human rights they violated. Or maybe because they demanded our heritage and lives back. We'll never know. Keep hiding, Saudi. Al-Baqee! 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 Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee, 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 Al-Baqee. Saudi ISIS are the same. Saudi ISIS are the same. Saudi ISIS are the same. Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee,
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Today we are here in front of all people. Do you want to know why are we gathered? We are gathered for human justice. We are gathered against a regime who is fighting for freedom, who is telling people that we are fighting for freedom. They demolished the shrines of 4 imams, 4 great figures in history, successors of the Prophet, in the name of freedom. And they built clubs and dancing places in the name of freedom. Where is this freedom? And what kind of freedom is this? We are here raising our calls and scream to call for Baqee and to rebuild the shrines of Jannatul Baqee. البقيع البقيع
rebuild al-Baqi,
البقيع البقيع
rebuild al-Baqi,
البقيع البقيع
rebuild al-Baqi, 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 al-Baqi,
البقيع البقيع
rebuild al-Baqi,
البقيع البقيع
rebuild al-Baqi.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Today, we demand restoration. We demand respect. We demand the right for all to visit and pay homage without hindrance. The destruction that has befallen al-Baqi is not just a loss for those of a particular faith, but a wound on the collective soul of humanity. By restoring al-Baqi, we do more than repair broken stones. We mend the fabric of our shared human story. Let us raise our voices together, not just to protest, but to proclaim our commitment to unity, peace, and justice. Let us call upon governments, organizations, and individuals of influence to acknowledge this cause and act with courage and conviction. From every corner of the globe, we will continue to support the restoration of al-Baqi and the rights of all people to visit and pay respects. From every corner of the globe, we will continue to support the restoration of al-Baqi and the rights of all people to visit and pay respects. Let this be our mission. Let this be our legacy to ensure that our future generations inherit a world enriched by its past, a world where respect and reverence for history are held as sacred as the ground of al-Baqi itself.
البقي 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 البقي
I have an urgent appeal for all of you that are walking in front of the banner and on the sides. Please come in the procession, come in the protest march, because you are disrupting this procession. I need you to come back behind the banner, and I need you to join us in the middle. Thank you very much.
البقي البقي
Rebuild al-Baqi.
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 البقي البقي.
Rebuild al-Baqi.
البقي البقي
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 Rebuild al-Baqi. 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 Al-Baqi.
البقي البقي
Rebuild al-Baqi.
البقي البقي
Rebuild al-Baqi.
البقي البقي
Rebuild al-Baqi.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference in the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same. Saudi ISIS are the same. Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same. 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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same. 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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
What I've been planning. I'm sure there are a lot of people's answers. First of all, I invite you to our website, www.baqee.org, to get all the information. But just to say very concisely, we are marching today, and we do it annually for the past 20 years. We have been doing this in DC. The reason being is that Saudi Arabia the so-called custodian of our two holy sites, is systematically destroying, demolishing all the valuable heritage, architectural, religious places where all the holy prophet and the prophets during the lifetime, they have totally destroyed them, and under the guise of saying that this is for progress, this is for humanity, this is for something that, for nightclubs, for casinos. So you see, we are here, we are asking Saudi Arabia to stop, to desist from doing this, immediately halt the destruction and desecration of shrines, graves, and cemeteries, radix in good faith, and begin the process of rebuilding these sacred sites to their original beauty. We are not being violent. We are peacefully marching, and we are saying that remove the harassing personnel. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were to go to Arlington Cemetery right now, and if there were cops over there, and they would give you a hard time visiting the loved ones that you have over there, what would you do? What would you say? Well, I'm sure nobody would like it because that's an encroachment of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of movement. We have all those rights in this country, and God bless you, enjoy them. But when you go to Saudi Arabia and you go to visit the oldest cemetery, that is the oldest cemetery that the Prophet himself buried his companions over there. There are 7,000 his companions buried over there. And you know what they do? They will beat you. They will not let you supplicate over there. They will not have women rights. Women cannot visit them. They will not let you go ahead and supplicate over there with the books, because they will take your books and they will destroy them. This information that I'm giving is for the onlookers over here. For you people that are wondering why this big procession is going on. The reason this procession is because they have destroyed our heritage, and they're systematically destroying it. They have gone ahead and demolished and built public libraries and toilets over them. How would you like it if somebody were to take these beautiful monuments that we have in this country and destroy them? I'm sure everybody over here would be up in arms and on the streets. That's why we are in the streets right now. We are asking Saudi Arabia to permit women to enter the Baqee, and there's another cemetery called Jannatul, extend visiting hours and allow supplication without interference. Can you believe we're asking for women's rights in this 21st century to those backward people? Now remember, these are the same people that believe in destruction. You have seen destruction around the world. You see people dying in the world. They are the cause of it in the Muslim world. So these people are denying women to go into a cemetery. How would you like that if somebody did that to you? Naturally, nobody would like that. And that's an encroachment on freedom of movement. That's an encroachment on humanity, human rights. I mean, that is, and we've been to United Nations appealing for that, by the way. So I just want to make sure that you understand that the reason we are marching for women's rights, marching for supplications, marching for peace and peaceful supplication, marching for making sure that they rebuild or restore to the original glory. And if they can't, no worries, we can do it ourselves. We have the means and resources around the world to get together and do it. All we need is the permission. We've been to UNESCO also, just so that you know. So it's not like we are marching on the street ad hoc. We just didn't come out of our houses and say, today we're going to march. This has been going on for 20 years. 20 years, and we've been going to Geneva, we've gone to United Nations. We are an NGO organization, this Baqee organization. So we are not just off the street demanding something that has no basis, that has no morality, that has no moral standing. So I appeal to all of you that are listening to me to go on our website, and our website is www.baqee, that is BAQEE.org, and our email is info@baqee, again BAQEE.org. And give us your views, give us your feedback, give something so that we can say, look, we are on the streets in Washington, D.C., the capital. We are here, and we are asking our rights, the rights that any human being morally would want.
So we are very peacefully demonstrating and asking Saudi Arabia to restore our rights.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild 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 Al-Baqee.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now.
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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now.
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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild
Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
My fellow citizens of this great nation, we have gathered here to protest for our rights. We have gathered here to demand Saudi to rebuild Baqee Cemetery, which lies in the city of Medina, in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We demand Saudi to let women enter Baqee Cemetery, halt violence in the name of Islam, and put an end to the misuse of our tax money. My fellow citizens, join us in helping raising our voices to rebuild our shared legacy. Shame on those who betray Islam's teachings and heritage sites. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name. 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 Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Rebuild
Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Now.
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 Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
This is all for the onlookers on the sidewalks wondering
Why are we protesting? What are we protesting? And why are we chanting?
the important thing here is that when we say the slogan,
Saudi, ISIS are the same, only difference is the names. They are both destructive forces. That's what we mean by that. Why are they destructive forces? Because they go ahead and destroy heritage sites, just like those other goons did when they went over and did Prophet Jonah's tomb. They went and destroyed it. In equation to that, equating that, they went ahead and destroyed the oldest cemetery in Islamic history. And that cemetery has housed notable, the grandsons, the great-grandsons of the Holy Prophet. So you can imagine the saints, the knowledge, the emotional connection that we all are being robbed of. They are systematically destroyed. They have systematically destroyed 99% of the heritage, and that is in Saudi Arabia. So we want you to understand the reason we are here is because of that. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
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 Wahhabi violence has so severely mocked Islam that Muslims worldwide are subjected to injustice by being labeled as terrorists, even though neither ISIS nor al-Saud practice Islam. This is why we are protesting here, to expose the true terrorists. Terrorists! Terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists! 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 Al-Saud terrorists! 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 Al-Saud terrorists! 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 Al-Saud terrorists! 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 Al-Saud terrorists!
Does Saudi deserve holding on to the Prophet's legacy?
No!
Does Saudi deserve holding on to the Prophet's legacy?
No!
Is it fair country has the historical responsibility for rebuilding Baqee?
Saudi Arabia!
Whose grandfather is responsible for the destruction of Baqee Cemetery on April 21st, 1926?
MBS!
Which country has the historical responsibility for rebuilding Baqee?
MBS!
Who claims to be the protector of Islam?
MBS!
Who established the rule that permits women to drive in Saudi Arabia but restricts them from entering Baqee?
MBS!
Who established the rule that permits women to drive in Saudi Arabia?
MBS! Terrorists! 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 Al-Baqee! 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 Saudi ISIS are the same!
Only difference is the name!
Saudi ISIS are the same!
Only difference is the name!
Saudi ISIS are the same!
Only difference is the name!
Saudi ISIS are the same!
Only difference is the name!
Saudi ISIS are the same!
Only difference is the name!
Saudi ISIS are the same!
Only difference is the name!
Rebuild Al-Baqee now! 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 Terrorists! Terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists!
Terrorists! Terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists!
Terrorists! Terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists!
Terrorists! Terrorists!
Al-Saud terrorists!
Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Again, just for the onlookers and for people that are wondering, what are we doing here? It's just a simple thing. We are asking for our rights. Slow it down. We are asking for our demands are that we have been robbed of our heritage. Our culture is being robbed. Our identity is being snatched away from us. How? Because in Saudi Arabia, in the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, everything that is dear to us, every cultural, architectural, holy sites that are there. For example, just to give you an example, for example, when Archangel Gabriel came down and gave his revelations, that place has been destroyed. Can you imagine that? So what are we saying here? We are saying, please halt the destruction, cease and desist on the destruction. And what we have over there is at least rebuilt it to its original glory. We don't want you to do anything else, but what you destroyed, we want it to be rebuilt because our saints are buried over there. We have a treasure over there in history. We have a treasure over there that has shaped the Islamic civilization from 1400 years on. So you can imagine how big a deal this is. This is not something that we just came out of our house and said, today we're going to march over here. This is something that we want you all to be aware of, that there's a destruction going on in a part of the world. Now remember, we've been on a political, we've been to the United States State Department, we've been to the religious, the Freedom of Religious Services and everything, CIRSF. We've been to all those places, and we are still trying. We've been to senators, we've been to congressmen. So you know, it's not just coming out on the street. We are doing a lot of work behind the scenes. We've been to United Nations and we are still dealing with it. We have an international human rights lawyer that is actually taking our case, and he has submitted an evidentiary report in UPR, which is the Universal Periodic Review. So we are doing all those things, and now we have come out on the streets to ask you to support us. How do you support us? You're wondering, well, what can we do? All we want you to do is go on our website, read up on it, go on what's the website? www.baqee.org, and our email is info at Baqee, again, BAQEE.org. So please go on our website, learn about this. It's a very, very important issue, and it's a human rights issue, it is a humanity issue, and we are out on the streets. We are protesting over there. So we urge you to please support us. Thank you very much. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee.
Rebuild Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee.
I got it. I got it.
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
इधर राइट पे रहो, राइट
Rebuild Al-Baqee.
कैमरा जाता
Rebuild Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Abbas.
See, that's a woman. That's Captain America. But when he went,
Only difference is the name. Only difference is the name. No. 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 No.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the name.
Saudi ISIS are the same.
Only difference is the
Saudi ISIS are the same. 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 Terrorist, terrorist. 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 Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee. 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 Terrorist, terrorist. Al-Saud terrorist. 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 Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Saudi ISIS are the same. Only difference is the name. Labbaik ya Zahra. Labbaik ya Zahra. Labbaik ya Zahra. Labbaik ya Zahra. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee. Rebuild Al-Baqee.
Push this way, so ladies can come on this side.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those who are wondering why we have gathered over here, it is a protest to prevent our religious heritage from being destroyed by the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I want you to think of a hypothetical situation. The Italian government wants to expand Rome because it's very crowded. So they take on the most expensive real estate in the area, which is the Vatican. They destroy St. Peter's. They desecrate the gorgeous Sistine Chapel. What would you, as Christians, do in that situation? Forget that. What would we, our Muslim community, do? We would stand up and fight this kind of situation. The Cathedral of Notre Dame was burned down in a fire in Paris. We all felt bad about it. It wasn't just the Catholics. I just want you to know that Saudi Arabia has destroyed 98% of the Islamic heritage over a period of time. The primary aim of this organization is to rebuild a cemetery in Medina called Baqee. Okay? But however, if we just had a mausoleum, a building built over those graves, it would be a hollow victory. What we want is that victory to be based on the principles of the personalities who are buried over there. And for that reason, the Baqee movement means a lot more than just building of a cemetery. To many of us, it's a fight against all oppression. It is also a fight to some, like a policeman's knee over George Floyd's neck. It is also the fight against the same oppressors of Saudi Arabia in Yemen, Syria, Pakistani Hazaras, and in many other places. We have seen gut-wrenching videos and images come out of Gaza and of utter destruction of families, of places, etc. But if Saudi Arabia and the other Arab governments had not cooperated, that would not have happened. So we stand against all oppression. If you want more information, please reach out on Baqee.org, BAQEE.org. Sheikh Hilli is a person who has written a very good book called Baqee Cemetery, and it's available on Taqwa Media. That is also a very good source. Our last speaker today is Ms. Maryam Zahra Jajafri. Maryam is a program coordinator at University of Maryland, Baltimore, serving the underprivileged schools. She is also a Master's of Education Policy candidate at University of Illinois. She has served various non-profit organizations, including a youth leadership roles at Idara Jafriya. She will speak on the role of youth in upholding and preserving the cultural and religious heritage. Let's welcome Maryam with a loud applause.
Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee!
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 Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most kind, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all, respected scholars and community members. As we stand together at the conclusion of our gathering, we are reminded of the crucial responsibility that we carry. Today marks a somber reflection on an atrocious day in history, the demolition of Jannatul Baqee, a sacred site that once cradled the remains of key figures in Islam, and as tradition holds, even Eve, or known as Hawa, the wife of Adam. This shared heritage binds us all, and this reminds us that the loss of Jannatul Baqee surpasses religious and cultural boundaries, urging people of all faiths to stand in solidarity against acts that erase our shared human history. Reflecting on this event prompts us to consider the essence of justice and understanding in our own times. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." His words remind us of the profound interconnectedness of our global community and the ripple effects of any act of injustice. Similarly, the ongoing conflicts in places like Gaza and Sudan highlight the enduring need for vigilance and advocacy in protecting both human lives and cultural heritage. These crises remind us that our efforts to remember and to preserve are not just about the past. They are crucial for nurturing peace and justice in the present and for the future. Our actions today pave the way for future generations, and we are tasked with both preserving and revitalizing our heritage. The Baqee organization has worked tirelessly to make an impact through strategic action plans. In my humble opinion, I'd like to emphasize a few of these action plans to ensure that our heritage is not only remembered, but also honored and protected. Number one, and this is mainly for our youth, number one, education and dialogue. My first point centers on raising awareness and fostering understanding. Education is a powerful tool in the preservation of heritage. By increasing knowledge and encouraging dialogue, we can bridge divides and build a community that values its historical legacies. We should continue to encourage and participate in educational initiatives that inform and engage communities about the importance of religious heritage. This can involve collaborative efforts with education institutions and community centers to integrate these topics into their programming. Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said, "Knowledge enlivens the soul." We should also seek to create partnerships with various cultural and religious groups in the U.S. to promote mutual respect and understanding by having discussions that emphasize the shared value of preserving our collective history. Now, number two, digital advocacy. This is something that the Baqee organization does so well. In an era where digital platforms can amplify our voices, we should utilize these tools to broaden our reach and our impact. The youth must use their own social media, including Baqee organization's platforms, to keep the conversation about cultural preservation alive, engaging a wider audience and encouraging global participation in our cause. This can also be done by producing content that resonates with diverse audiences and using various formats to highlight the importance of our mission and to inspire action among our digital community as well. And lastly, number three is policy advocacy. Advocating for policy change is crucial for achieving lasting impact. Again, something that Baqee organization does so well, but it's mainly for our future generations to continue this. Our goal as future generations to come is to aim to influence policies that protect and honor cultural heritage sites as well as then rebuild Baqee. If you don't have the public here, who will help us? The youth should strive to be involved, to engage with policymakers through various forums and discussions, ensuring that the protection of cultural heritage is a recognized and prioritized issue. In the words of Imam Ali, peace be upon him, he said, "Justice is the essence of humanity." And as we draw inspiration from the teachings from him and from the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family, he reminded us that the best of people are those who bring most benefit to the rest of mankind. So let us embody these words through our actions from why we're here today and concluding with this. As we conclude today's gathering, for the youth of today, we are not merely inheritors of legacies, but we are architects of the future. Again, as we conclude today's gathering, for the youth of today, we are not merely inheritors of legacies, but we are architects of the future. Each story remembered, each site preserved, and each dialogue initiated contributes to building a more just and compassionate world. I appreciate your time and giving me the honor of speaking today. And to the youth, thank you for your dedication and your belief in a cause that transcends time and boundaries. Together, let's ensure that the preservation of our heritage remains a vibrant part of our legacy for generations to come. Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
Rebuild Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee!
I invite our last speaker of the evening, Mr. Jafar Lakhani, to come and give you all a vote of thanks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. We start with these words to remember that all power belongs to God and for Him to aid us in any mission that we have. I know that I'm going to be loud right now, and I want you guys to be loud with me. I know you guys are all tired. We have been to the Saudi embassy, and now we stand at the heart of power. You have demanded your rights in front of the Saudi Arabian government. But now, as U.S. citizens, as we stand here together, we can demand our rights from our government. The Biden administration sits right behind me, and us, as U.S. citizens, should demand our rights and save from this injustice that continues to happen today. You first demanded rebuilding of Baqee from the Saudi Arabian government, and now we stand here in front of our government, and we want it to know, we want the Biden administration to know that we will not stand while this injustice goes on. The freedom of religion, the freedom of expression, all are not embodied by this Saudi Arabian government, an ally to the United States. You are all here. You all live in the United States because you believe in the freedom of expression, the freedom of religion. And now we must demand that the Biden administration does the same of its allies and demands the same of its allies. And it does not harass the U.S. citizens that are here, that go to pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia and are harassed, detained. Women are not allowed to visit the cemetery. We must stand together and we must demand our rights. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! To draw a parallel, like you have heard previously, what if a regime change happened in this country? What if the Republicans came to power and then they said, we don't believe in the respect of Arlington National Cemetery anymore. We don't believe in the Lincoln Memorial, and we're going to raze it to the ground. Would U.S. citizens such as us or anywhere in this country allow that? No. No. Would U.S. citizens such as us or anywhere in this country allow that? No. We must stand together. And this is exactly the type of scenario that has happened. Over 100 years ago, they destroyed the religious personalities in Medina, Saudi Arabia. They were not only religious personalities, but personalities that stood for human justice, stood for women's rights, stood for freedom of expression, stood for freedom of religion. We must remember our personalities and we must allow others to know these personalities. Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! Al-Baqee, Al-Baqee! Rebuild Al-Baqee! We cannot be silent while the holy personalities laying in Baqee Cemetery are destroyed. You must stand together. We must support this cause. And I call on all the citizens of the United States, everybody watching, everybody gathered around in this park, we must stand together to do this, because once you have one nation, once you stand silent in the face of injustice one place, it only happens again and again and again. We want the Biden administration to understand that this travesty, although it occurred 100 years ago, the regime of Saudi Arabia thought that 101 years would go by and we would not be standing here like we do. Alhamdulillah, you guys are all here showing your support because this issue is important. The people that perpetrated this crime came from that same ideology that attacked the United States on September 11th. When we all mourned as a nation the falling of the World Trade Towers on 9/11, we created a memorial for the victims of that day. Now imagine if that memorial was razed to the ground. Would we stand and allow such a crime to occur? No! Would we stand and allow such a crime to occur? No! Terrorists! 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 We demand that the U.S. government pressure its ally to rebuild al-Baqee. If Saudi Arabia can build new entertainment venues, new hotels, it can certainly reconstruct the memorials in Baqee. We demand that this continuing injustice and deliberate negligence of heritage sites stop immediately. These heritage sites protect Islam today, but those heritage sites State actors will then desecrate heritage sites all over the world from any faith, from any culture. This is where we must stand our ground. There is no reason for al-Baqi to lie barren, and we demand that the United States condition any aid or support to Saudi Arabia on the rebuilding of Jannatul Baqi as demanded by the citizens gathered here. Our demands do not stop here. Saudi Arabia has a horrendous human rights record. Detention of United States citizens, as you've heard today, like my uncle Sajjad Lakhani. Abusing religious pilgrims that visit al-Baqi and are harassed, sometimes even beaten for their beliefs. Discouraging visitation and worship. U.S. must demand that its ally, an ally like Saudi Arabia, hold itself to the same principles that it believes in so strongly, like the freedom of religion and the freedom of expression. Would we allow the freedom of religion and freedom of expression to be prohibited in this country? No! We must condition and require that our allies in overseas also embody these principles. I really thank you on behalf of the al-Baqi organization. We thank you for attending today and keeping this issue top of mind. I am so happy and encouraged to see all of these supporters here. There's a resilient group of supporters that has come about even though 100 years has passed. We have seen a lot of people, a lot of naysayers say that now 100 years has passed, what are you going to do? We appreciate and we will continue to hold events and hold rallies all across the world to this issue. Don't think that you are small in number. You are powerful. And even Imam Hussein had only 72 companions. You have accomplished a lot today. We know the Biden administration has taken notice that we will not forget about this issue. We have stirred controversy all around the world because we now hold rallies, hold events all around the world, and now we are getting pressure from other governments to stop these events. That means we know that we are getting to them, and you guys are critical in that movement. We must continue to show up every year so that the Saudi Arabian government and other state actors know that we will not take this act lying down. We will not let these heritage sites continue to be destroyed. We will not go lying in the ground. We will not go silent. We will stand for our rights. Crimes like this will not go unanswered. If we don't continue raising our voices, this will only embolden others. Yesterday, it was Baqee, and we continue to remember that until today. Today, it is Palestine. We must stand together. Human rights not embodied one place will be discouraged everywhere, and state actors will take advantage of this. I had a friend tell me that in 1924, when they destroyed the memorials at Baqee, that was the chance. That they saw that everybody stood there, the Muslim Ummah took that lying down, and now we stand here 100 years later without it rebuilt. We must stand for human rights, otherwise it will perpetuate everywhere. Thank you again, everyone, for attending and for listening. Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi!
Rebuild Al-Baqi!
Al-Baqi, Al-Baqi!
Rebuild Al-Baqi!
So with that, we conclude our protest today. I just wanted to know some housekeeping issues. That's H Street, and the one across is 16th. There are a bunch of buses over there. Please identify your bus. Remember which bus you came in. And best thing to do is to make sure that the person you sat with on the seat is there in the bus with you. And to thank you all for coming again. And to end the program, we end with a dua or a prayer of our 12th Imam and the current Imam. And for that, Maulana Hayri is going to do the honors.
Let us end our protest with praying for the reappearance of our present Imam. And indeed, we believe the only one who can uproot this oppression and establish justice and wisdom on the earth is the Savior, our present Imam. Let us raise our hands and together pray for his reappearance with reciting Dua al-Faraj. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
May I request all the volunteers to come step up for some words from Maulana and a group picture. Volunteers, Baqee volunteers, please step up to the front.
पानी चाहिए पानी
आओ सारे टोपी वाले आ जाओ हाँ जा ले ले आप लोग भी आ सकते जो भी आ जाए आ रहे निशान भाई
बकी वॉलंटियर सब इधर आ जाए ग्रुप फोटो चाह रहे मौलाना जाफर आओ बेटा जाफर
कैदियों की एनिवर्सरी आज भैया आगे आ जाइए हाफिज भाई भैया इधर आ जाइए अच्छा आप इधर है माशाअल्लाह माशाअल्लाह माशाअल्लाह
Al Baqee, Al Baqee. Al Baqee, Al Baqee. Al Baqee, Al Baqee.
माशाअल्लाह माशाअल्लाह
आजा आगे आजा अरे आवाज भाई आओ क्यों हमारे साथ सलमान आओ जी सलमान बोलो सलमान आइए आइए अरे हैदरी अंदर भाई अरे लगो मैं रोक लेता हूँ जब